fuck? Clicks? Wait, Lacey? Wait, what? Wait, hold on.
May 8th,
What the fuck?
A woman named Malie Perales was driving down the
Four
Packer
missing
Drive
person
Northeast
found
Road
alive.
alongside the Rogue River in Belmont, Michigan. She and her 2 roommates were on their way back
No,
after
he's
a
not
night
watching
out,
Clear.
and they were all in a cheerful mood. However, their smiles quickly vanished as they stumbled onto a
Oh, I think I know why Lacey and them were shown.
a.m. while driving near the Rogue Hollow Court,
I think they
one of the
found a missing
passengers
person and
spotted
shit. Like a
strange
missing person like
figure
came up to
lurking
them.
by the side of the road. This encounter was extremely terrifying, but it also sparked the group's curiosity. And after some deliberation, they decided to turn around, and this is what they then came across.
No, just play.
What the?
Oh, hey, what the fuck? Are y'all stopping? Be honest. If y'all see that, are y'all
They saw
stopping?
what looked like a young woman drenched from head to toe, as if she had just crawled out of the nearby river.
No,
She
nah.
also looked like she was crying.
You stop
begging
getting
her on
robbed.
the road and waving for help. Malie posted the video of this encounter on TikTok.
I ain't
and
gonna lie,
instantly
look,
went viral,
nah, I don't
leading
know.
people to come up with all sorts of
I'll be
horrific
mad
theories
curious
about
though, no,
ghosts,
boo.
spirits, etc. However, as wild as
With
the theories
guns?
got, Malie later posted several videos shutting them down and revealing what really happened. According to her,
That's
they
some white
kept
people
circling
shit.
back and driving past the disturbed woman several times after.
I'll be
recording
mad
the
curious,
first
but I don't
video
think
to
I'll be
make sure
curious
she
to the
was
point where I'll
okay.
stop. I'm gonna
While
be
none of
honest.
them
I'll
had
be
the nerve
creeped
to get out
out.
of the car and approach her, they did call the cops and waited nearby until help arrived. The
I'll
woman
probably
was then
honk,
taken
yeah,
to a nearby
thanks.
hospital where she was treated for cold exposure. As it turns out, she somehow fell into the Rogue River from the east
Oh,
side
they scooped
and
her up.
swam across it onto the road.
Late night drive turns super
She
spooky.
had to have come up out of the water. Yup, there's a dig spot there. So she came up from down there.
I'd run her
That
over.
had to have been why she was so wet.
Yeah, facts. Oh, damn, that's the
This was the
trail.
spot that she had left. I don't know why.
Damn.
Or what was going on.
They went back? Oh, no, they crazy.
After regaining some composure, she also revealed that the woman was from Kalamazoo, a town that's over 60 miles from where she was found. However, she had no recollection of how she got to Belmont and fell in a river so far away from home.
Oh,
From what we
nah.
know, she was most likely experiencing a severe mental break, where her memory gap was caused by a rare condition known
Wrong
as
turn,
fugue
lad.
state, something we covered in our previous video.
I
on
forgot
most
that emo
disturbing
wasn't even a
mental
thing that's
disorders.
7TV.
For those who don't know, a
That's
fugue
so
state
good.
is a rare condition where a person suddenly loses their memory and starts acting like someone else. They might wander
What the
off, travel
fuck?
long distances, or do things completely out of character.
If y'all lose
without
y'all memory, who y'all
realizing
acting
anything
like?
is wrong. It's usually triggered by extreme stress or trauma, and once it's over, the person often has no memory of what happened. And while this condition is quite rare, all the signs suggest that's exactly what happened to this mysterious woman from
Big
Kalamazoo,
MSTs.
especially since the authorities later found her car parked behind a random house just
Damn, I
east of
would have
the
wanted me
river.
to start
She
recording
likely
though.
drove to that neighborhood on her own, but had zero memory of doing so, which fits perfectly with the known symptoms of fugue state. Malie also shared her video in a local Facebook group, hoping to find more answers about what went down. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I
the
know,
responses
you
she
read those
received
in the
weren't as
social
helpful
media
as she'd
stuff.
hoped, since most people in the neighborhood believe the screaming and noises were just the sounds of a wild animal, like a coyote. But there were a few responses that deepened the mystery. Like this one person who remembered meeting her earlier that same night, stating,
Oh, hell
"Saw
no.
this person between Van Dam and Packer Woods around 10:15 p.m. Friday.
19 minutes
Asked
after.
her if she needed help, to which she responded no." Another person also mentioned hearing about a woman walking into his neighbor's house.
Appreciate
yelling
you,
help
Dumbo. Good night,
multiple
Gaga.
times, and then leaving on her own. And while this added further evidence supporting the fugue state theory, these responses still left a key
That's what he
question
said,
unanswered.
Mars.
Who
You don't
was
be wanting
she?
to play, bro.
Malie tried to contact both the police.
You go, Asper,
and
bro.
the
We'll
hospital
run,
for
we'll
answers,
run
but
Monday,
despite
bro.
her
I'll be back on
insistence,
Monday.
Both the police officers and the hospital staff
I'll be
refused
done
to
on Monday.
reveal
We can
her
run first
name.
thing Monday.
That said, we still have enough information to make an educated guess. Based on everything I could uncover, the mysterious woman in this unsettling video was most likely
Yeah, bro, 'cause I'm gonna be
Mei
out all weekend.
She was a
Listen,
28-year-old
listen,
Chinese
gang.
woman who went missing from Kalamazoo on May 6, 2021.
Yeah, because
Before
I'm
her
not gonna be home
disappearance, she
till
told her friends
Monday.
that she felt like she was being followed by a
Yeah,
stalker she met
Mars.
online. Unfortunately, these are the only details about her case that were made public. I couldn't find any clear answers on whether the stalker was real or if
Wait,
she was
so
just
is that
overwhelmed
shorty
by
that
paranoia. In either
got
case,
lost?
the constant fear and stress of feeling watched likely
Where,
drove her to
Jaja?
slip into some variation of the fugue state we discussed earlier.
Taking on tonight?
Hopefully she
I mean,
received
if y'all
the
shit
mental
ready,
help
let
she
me know.
desperately needed and is now in a better mental state than she once was.
He think this shit is me right?
Tracking down a missing person can be an extremely daunting task, But tracking down a person's personal information often isn't. For example, just by knowing your name and the town or city,
Oh, is this an
you
ad?
can probably find out your address, phone number, make and model of your car.
What the
who your
yo?
relatives
Why are they
and
putting
much
people on
more.
with this type of game?
This is because data brokers collect all our information, package it, and sell it to whoever wants it. It can cost someone less than $1 to purchase.
Dog,
this
are we the
information.
ad? I'm mad confused.
Most people buying this information aren't trying to find missing persons. They're
mad
probably
lost, too.
scammers or
Let me
stalkers.
say smash.
If you don't believe me,
you
Google
got
yourself
trickle on
right
everyone,
now
dude?
and see what comes up.
Yo!
With my sponsor Aura, this type of thing can be
Nice.
prevented.
I mean, are we
So
dead ass?
if
Like,
they find access
so
to
we're
your
sponsoring
doors,
doxing.
but not find IRL. In June of 2024, streamer Lacey and his friend Clicks
me see
were
no
doing
bitch,
an
Jojo.
IRL live stream in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I seen this
The two
shit. I
were
seen this shit. I
simply
think I was
going
in the
around
stream when
town
this shit
and having
happened.
fun. What
Yeah,
they
I'm down,
didn't
I'm down,
realize
Mars.
was that
Yeah, I think
this
I was here
stream
when
would
this shit
end up
happened.
saving someone's life. It happened a few hours into the stream when they sat down at the Starlight Hotel Cafe for lunch. As they waited to order, a guy walked up to their table wearing nothing but neon green shorts.
Bro,
Lacey and
when I
Clicks
used to make the
initially
plug
assumed he
channel
was
with
just
the
another
Twitch
fan
people,
eager to talk to
I
his favorite
uploaded a video.
streamers,
I uploaded
a
this
pretty
video
typical
on
scenario
there.
for popular IRL streamers. But something about this young man didn't sit right. He was trying to keep
I
a
remember
conversation
shit.
going, but his words were slurred, and nothing he said really made sense.
Are you sparring? Yo, you good, bro? Good what?
The streamers figured he was either drunk or on some kind of drugs. For content, they started poking fun at him a bit before shifting their focus back to their stream. But the guy continued to linger around, acting very odd and saying unintelligible sentences for the next half hour or so.
Jojo,
before
yo,
finally
like
leaving
scissor,
them for
shorty.
good.
I'm not gonna
The
care
streamer
with you.
simply labeled it as an odd interaction from
Nah, they
someone
fired
under the
already.
influence of something or another and continued on with their stream. Lacey
Shit,
later
Pocky.
uploaded an edited down version of
Hopefully,
his
hopefully
stream
sometime
on
this
his
year, but
channel.
I'm bull.
And that's when he got
We'll
an
see, bro.
email that
See
made him
what
realize
happens
the
with streaming, bro.
significance of what they had just caught on camera. 2
Show
days
it.
after the video went up, Lacey received an email from a man named Trent claiming to be the brother of the guy seen in green shorts. It read, "Hello, my name is Trent Coleman, and my
Dude, that's
missing little
crazy.
brother from Michigan was on Clicks and Lacey's stream in Miami. He was wearing green shorts and they were making fun of him. He is not on drugs.
Every game
he is
was.
schizophrenic and he is 17 years old. If someone can contact me about this, I would be so thankful. He has been missing for 3 months and his case was put on homicide in Michigan." In most cases, emails like these are just trolls trying to mess with creators. However, after some research, Lacey discovered that Trent was actually telling the truth and posted this new development on Twitter stating, "3 months ago, a 17-year-old kid went missing and was put on homicide. Yesterday on stream,
Nah,
he
I
came
feel like
up
they
to
went
me and
by
Clicks,
mad
and now his
slow.
family knows he is alive and in Miami. I wasn't sure if I should make this public, but I'm hoping somehow this helps him be found for his family." In a reply
that's
to his tweet,
crazy.
Lacey also attached an article that provided additional details about the case. Apparently, the teenager's name was Troy Coleman, and he had been missing from his home in Michigan since May of 2024. According to the article, Troy was last seen in Mount Morris Township around 9:30 a.m. on May
Slow way down,
17th.
Lou.
In the 3 months since his disappearance, he had somehow traveled from Michigan all the way to Miami with no medication, no money, and no clear explanation of how he got there. This was extremely concerning considering Troy's lack of vital medication for his schizophrenia was known to cause serious hallucinations. His sudden reappearance only deepened the mystery. With no leads and no logical explanation, Michigan police were left so baffled that
Dang,
they
bro,
even began
17.
investigating his case as a potential homicide. So, the fact that Troy randomly
That
appeared
far,
on Lacey and
yeah,
Clicks'
bro.
stream, and his brother just so happened to be watching that stream,
Bro, this
was
man
nothing
made this
short of a
shit
miracle.
his profile picture on
But
Chrome.
somehow, the coincidences keep piling up, and what happened next made the whole situation even stranger. While Troy was still on stream, another young fan approached the two streamers and tried to strike up a conversation. However, before he could even introduce
no
himself,
idea,
Troy
I just read that-
interrupted
I just
them
read that
again
now.
and started saying something to the younger fan. He was still talking incoherently, which made the streamers even more uncomfortable and confused about his intentions. During this time, he also gave the younger fan
we
the
just give him a
styrofoam
drink?
cup he was holding. The young boy quickly took a sip of whatever was in the cup and walked away. Lacey's cameraman noticed the exchange and immediately pointed it out to the streamer. By now, they were convinced that Troy was on drugs, and that raised a serious concern. Had he just given the kid something laced?
Yo.
Not wanting to ignore it, Lacey decided to confront Troy, asking him directly what was in the cup. But to their surprise, Troy's answer was a lot more coherent than expected. He simply stated that it was just a soft drink from Beacon Hotel.
What was in the drink?
Kidding.
What was in that drink?
In the drink?
Yeah. You gave it to
It
him.
was Coke from Beacon Hotel.
Like Coca-Cola? Making sure. You gave it to the kid. I gave it to a kick.
This coincidental interaction gave authorities the crucial lead they needed. Troy was, in fact, staying at the very hotel he had mentioned. From there, it didn't take long for investigators to track down Troy and reunite him with his family, who were overjoyed to have him back. In a later interview with People.com, Troy's father, Weston Coleman, shared even more
that's so
heartbreaking
crazy how
details of what
all
Troy
that
went through.
played out.
According to him, Troy actually wanted to visit Florida to find and meet celebrities. He did his research online and saved up as much money as he could before setting off. Troy made it to Atlanta by bus, but that's where things took a turn for the worst. During his stay in Atlanta, he was robbed of everything he had. Left with
Damn.
nothing, he traveled the rest of the way to Miami completely broke. Despite the hardship, his family was ultimately glad that he was still alive and well, with his father stating, "I'm just glad he's alive at this point and now can't believe we found him. We all feel a lot better and we thank everybody." From what I can find, that Troy's been living with his family in Michigan ever since and has managed to stay out of any more trouble.
Man, that's crazy.
On August 3, 2013, 40-year-old James DiMaggio invited family friend Christina Anderson and her two kids, 8-year-old Ethan and 16-year-old Hannah, over to his home in Boulevard, California. He claimed it was just a farewell visit before moving to Texas.
Hey, that's that shit in
And
GTA.
this wasn't anything unusual.
That shit all the way up there.
James had been a close friend with both Christina and her husband Brett for quite some time and was like an uncle to the kids. And since Brett was away for a 3-month job in Tennessee, James helped the family regularly with things like driving Hannah to and from her gymnastics class.
Fair warning, that's not
However,
me.
what
Nah,
seemed
appreciate the
like an
warning, bro. I
innocent
did all you.
invitation quickly turned into a horrifying nightmare. It started on August 4 when the children's grandparents called
Why is
the
he saying
police and
August 4?
reported the
August
family is missing after not
03,
hearing
like,
from
what the
Christina
fuck?
all day. They also informed the
Say
police about the
4th or
family's
3rd.
plan to visit James. However, when investigators reached James's home, it was already engulfed in flames. Firefighters rushed to the scene.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck? Like, what was wrong with
Unfortunately,
this
they were too
narrator,
late.
dude?
Inside the burnt house, they discovered the bodies of Christina Anderson, her son Ethan, and even the family dog.
Damn.
And while this could have been nothing more than a tragic accident, the reality was far more cruel. Later autopsy discovered severe injuries on Christina. These included signs of plastic cable ties around her ankle and arms, duct tape marks around her neck and mouth, multiple fractures in her right arm and both legs, a cut on her neck, and signs of at least 12 heavy strikes to the head. Her 8-year-old son Ethan also
tied
had
her
multiple
up.
fractures throughout his body. However, despite the horrific scene, there were no signs of James or Hannah anywhere near the house.
Really?
It didn't take long for investigators to connect the dots and realize that James DiMaggio was the mastermind behind this horrific crime.
Cross-eyed.
It also became clear that he had orchestrated the murders
Damn,
not
they
just out of
tied
violence,
her
but with
up
the
and
intent
lit
to
that bitch
kidnap
on
Hannah.
fire.
His actions were calculated and driven by some twisted obsession as he took her from everything she had in her life. After learning about this, the police quickly issued a statewide Amber Alert in hopes of getting any information regarding James and missing Hannah's whereabouts. In the meantime, investigators also discovered security footage of James passing through the Border Patrol
22
checkpoint in
cars.
Pine Valley at around 10 p.m. This also prompted them to launch a massive manhunt spanning the entire Pacific coast from
Damn.
British Columbia to Baja California. However, despite the massive effort and the hundreds of man-hours put into the search, the manhunt turned up empty. Every lead seemed to result in a dead end, and the odds of successfully rescuing Hannah started to dwindle with every passing day. Things looked bleak. That is, until 3 days later, when two
Nah,
horseback
sure.
riders spotted a
Why
man
is
and
it?
a girl while trekking through the remote wilderness of
shit.
Cascade, Idaho. They had seen the broadcast of Hannah's disappearance on TV and instantly recognized the young girl and her captor. They reported the sighting to authorities, who instantly began investigating the area, and soon after they found James's car with its plates removed to avoid detection. However, it still took them 3 more days to track down the campsite James was hiding in. The FBI had set up a jet with a sophisticated long-range camera recording from thousands of feet above, which is what you're seeing now. This footage confirmed they had found the missing Hannah. On the 10th of August, the FBI took it upon itself to rescue Hannah and mobilized a tactical team for the mission. They kept eyes on James for some time, looking for the right moment to attack.
Oh, this is
However,
real-life
he was sticking
footage.
close to Hannah, which made it near impossible for the rescue team to make their move. Fortunately, after some time, James moved away to gather some firewood. And while he was completely oblivious, Hannah actually spotted a rescue helicopter and started waving for help. This was the perfect opportunity, and the FBI didn't let it go to waste. They quickly moved in and carried Hannah to safety. After noticing the rescue mission, James took out one of the guns he had with him and fired at an officer. The rescue team then returned fire, resulting in him getting shot 6 times in the head, arms, and upper torso.
Damn!
Safe. And while this was one of the most terrifying experiences a teenage girl can have, Hannah's managed to completely bounce back. She is now 27 years old and is happily living with her husband and 1-year-old son in Vancouver, Canada.
Damn, that's fire, man. Shout out to her, man. Not that she got kidnapped. It's fire that she was able to bounce back from
around
it.
4 p.m., 73-year-old Robert McDonough disappeared from his home in Portland, Maine.
Them
Now,
said big
an
ass
elderly
coconuts.
person going missing is extremely
It's
stressful.
named
on
after
its
a
own.
girl. Oh,
However,
after a girl
what
got
made
kidnapped.
Robert's situation even more dire
Damn, I
was
didn't
the
know
fact
that.
that he was also suffering from dementia.
Oh, they have
For
a
those who
movie
don't
about it?
know, dementia is a mental condition which makes it difficult to remember things,
Good
think
recovery.
clearly, or even recognize familiar
Like, just
faces.
had to make sure you
People with
feel-
dementia can forget everything from their own names to the faces of loved ones, leaving them confused about where they are or how they got there. This
Damn,
can
what
also
the
extend to
fuck?
forgetting where they live. For someone with dementia, wandering outside can quickly turn from a harmless mistake to a life-threatening situation. A person with memory loss
Is
isn't
dementia
just lost in
curable
terms
or
of
not?
direction, they're lost in terms of identity and awareness. They forget how to care for themselves, how to recognize danger, and how to make decisions in an increasingly hostile world. These conditions could prove to be lethal for a healthy young adult, and the danger is increased tenfold for a frail elderly man trying to navigate a world that no longer makes sense to him. He could have easily wandered into traffic or tripped and fallen in a remote area, and no one would have known.
Pretty sure it ain't,
But
nah.
simply,
Hold on, that's why I got
Robert's
you.
life was in extreme danger.
Damn.
This is also why the authorities moved quickly after receiving the missing report and began searching every corner of the city within hours of his disappearance.
Search and rescue teams spent more than 14 hours searching an area of Leamington after 73-year-old Robert McDonough, who has dementia, disappeared Monday afternoon. Around 6 a.m., search teams were briefed and started to intensify their
Look at that
efforts.
booty
It
she
was
got.
going into the second operational period, which means we're starting to ramp up, using a lot of GPS technology. Well, again, we'd have our pilots, we'd have ATVs, canines.
However, they were having a hard time figuring out where Robert could have gone. When someone with dementia
Robert!
goes missing, searching for them is not like searching for someone who's just wandered off. In most cases, they don't even realize they're lost at all. They might walk aimlessly or
Oh,
even
you're back
retrace
to
the
it?
same steps without ever
I mean, that
reaching
shit was
for
just
familiar
like
ground.
looking at
Their
me.
confusion can send them in any direction, far from where they should be. But
Scary ass
then,
nigga.
about 14 hours into the search, something happened that no one saw coming. On May 28 at 6:30 a.m.,
Yo.
recording a section about the disappearance
No,
of
I
Robert
think
on the
Stacks
street,
in general you can't
when,
watch.
out of
'Cause he's
nowhere,
banned
an
on Twitch.
old man walked into the front.
Ready to find shit? What's good, Kayana? You are PewDiePie? I used to death
At
people.
first, the
So
reporter
heavy.
brushed him off as just another bystander.
Wait,
But
Buddy was
after a few
behind him?
minutes, He suddenly realized who the elderly man was. This was Robert McDonough, or Bob as he went by, the man everyone was looking for.
Anybody give a phone call? I'm calling the warden service. They're at the Farmington. This is Bob.
Damn, he just popped up while they was filming?
McDonough? Yeah.
He looks a lot like a
Watch
guy
yourself,
like
watch
that.
yourself. Yeah. That's Bob McDonough.
What the
Fortunately,
fuck?
he was completely unharmed, despite being out in the cold all
Wait,
night.
what you mean,
Upon
Ben?
realizing his identity,
Hey,
the
baby
police crew
boy?
immediately contacted the authorities.
What's the
and
word,
it wasn't
man?
long before Robert was reunited with his family. But here's the thing. Robert returning like this was nothing more than a stroke of good luck. While his story had a somewhat happy ending, it could have just as easily turned into an irreparable loss.
Damn, boy, that shit motherfucking crazy, man. Shout out Robbie, no bullshit. Shout out Robbie.